Welcome to the Workamper Show, brought to you by Workamper.com. This podcast helps you discover how to finance your RV travel dreams. Each one of our episodes will introduce you to people who are already living the RV lifestyle or to work camping opportunities all around the U.S. You'll also learn how to hit the road the right way and make the most of every opportunity. Now let's turn over today's show to your host, Greg Gerber.
Today we're going to talk about a rather stinky problem impacting almost all full-time RVers as well as weekend users, and that's how to control odors in RV holding tanks. I'll be speaking with an expert who had some simple advice for controlling odors and keeping tanks relatively clean. Today's episode is sponsored by Workamper News. Do you have more questions and answers when it comes to the work camping and RVing lifestyle? If so, then Workamper News has your back. Listen to their free work camping Q&A videos to get your questions answered. Each video answers questions submitted by folks just like you who are learning about the RV lifestyle, just getting started, or been work camping for a while. The videos cover topics like what kind of work camping jobs are out there, what do those jobs pay, tips for writing your work camper resume, questions to ask an employer, what type of RV is best, how to get your mail as an RVer, and much more. Listen to detailed answers now by watching the videos at workamper.com/answer. In the description of each video, you'll find a list of questions that were answered so you can quickly jump to the answers you want to hear. Check out the free work camping Q&A videos to get your questions answered today. Sue Rassmussen is the owner of Royal Flush RV. It is a company she started to professionally clean out RV holding tanks. It's something that all RVers need to do on a regular basis. Sue is also an instructor at the National RV Training Academy. She had been a full-time RVer for many years when she decided to learn more about how her RV worked. So she took classes at the Academy, which opened her eyes to a business opportunity focused entirely on helping RVers to maintain their holding tanks. Since then, Sue has become the industry expert in RV holding tank maintenance and in helping people to control odors inside their RVs. A lot of people think odors only come from their black tanks. In reality, Sue said gray tanks often smell worse than black tanks because of everything else being flushed into them, such as food particles, cooking oils, and things washed off their hands and bodies. After a few days, even the gray holding tanks can get rather stinky. Many people just cover up the smell with deodorant sprays and tablets, but Sue has an even better way to completely neutralize those odors. Her system is so effective that she is training other work campers how to start businesses to help people keep their tanks in tip-top shape. To tell us what work campers can do to better control odors in the short term and maintaining their holding tanks for long-term use, please welcome Sue Rassmussen, the owner of Royal Flush RV, to the show. Thanks for joining me today, Sue. I really appreciate the time. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in not only the RV industry, but decided to specialize in RV holding tanks.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on your show here. I first got started RVing just because I decided I was going to be a full-time RVer for a year. And if I didn't like it, I would stop after a year. But I loved it and have basically been just living this lifestyle ever since. So that's been 8 years ago.
Wow.
And then decided I wanted to learn more about the ins and outs and the workings of the RV itself. So about 3 years ago, I found out about the NRVTA, which is the National RV Training Academy, and decided to come and take some classes. And little did I know that would send me off on a path of a completely unexpected career and something that I just ended up falling in love with. And from there, then I decided to specialize. And of all the things I could have chosen to specialize in, I decided to choose cleaning tanks, black and gray tanks, as my specialty. And that has also turned out to be not only just a thing that I really enjoy doing, but it's turned into a lot of fun. And I have happy clients when I'm done cleaning their tanks. And so it's just been a very unexpected path, but I have loved every minute of it.
It does not sound fun to be involved in cleaning out holding tanks all day. So I guess everybody has their own version of fun. A lot of people are told that they need to add things to their holding tanks to control RV odors. Is that a good thing?
It is. There's two sides of it because the first thing that people are not aware of is that they can have odor in both their black and their gray tanks. And most people just think it's just the black tank. And I can tell you, because I clean thousands of tanks, that the gray tanks often smell worse than the black tanks do. because of everything that's going down into the tank. So most people just think of what to add to the tanks, what kind of product to use in the tanks to keep the odor down. I actually look at it a little bit differently than that. So I look at what do we prevent from putting down into the tanks, and then what should we be using to take care of the tanks. So I'm a little bit, I come about it at a little bit of a different angle. But the end result is I personally want something that doesn't smell rather than something that smells like something else.
Right.
A lot of people use things that smell like lavender or citrus or whatever. And I would just, to cover up the smell, and I would just rather neutralize the smell.
So what do you recommend that people do to neutralize odors?
The first thing is to do some things to prevent them from starting in the first place. So that's one of the key things. And like I said, especially in the gray tanks, people don't realize how much actually gets dumped into the gray tank. So people just think it's just water and some soap, but the reality is it's water and soap and products and hair and skin and grease and fat and food particles and coffee grounds and all kinds of other things. And all that stuff starts to basically turn rancid and ferment and all kinds of things in the tank. And so one of the first things is to just reduce or eliminate as much of that stuff from going down in the tanks as you can. Wipe off your dishes before you wash them. Scrape them off into the garbage can, wipe them off with a paper towel, clean things off before you wash them, because anything that gets washed down is just going to go sit in the holding tank, and then it's just going to turn, it's going to start developing bacteria in black mold and different things. And that's what starts things. That's what just creates more of the odor. If we can prevent some of the stuff from going on down, that's great. The black tank, there's going to be stuff going in the black tank. That's what it's for. We're not going to be so focused on preventing. We're going to basically be focused on neutralizing. But the gray tanks, we can certainly do quite a bit to prevent things. We can use little sink strainers. So I also recommend that for people to keep some things from going down in there. And then I do have some things that I recommend as far as products or let's just say a product that people use. I'm not a fan of doing swapping all different kinds of products and treatments for their tanks, because it's actually better to just choose one thing that works and stick with it and stop trying all kinds of, because people do a lot of recipes and products and all kinds of things to try to change what's going on in those holding tanks. And in many cases, those are only making things and also potentially messing up what's going on in the septic system at the park. And that's also something that it's really important to me, to not only keep the holding tanks working well in the RV, but not damaging the system, the septic system or the water system at the park once you dump the tanks, because a lot of what people dump from their tanks into dump stations or at parks are really damaging what's going on in the parks. But it's another thing that really matters to me.
I remember that some of these holding tank treatments have antibacterial things in it to
All
kill
kinds of things,
bacteria.
yeah.
And the campgrounds hate that because they need the bacteria to help control everything that's going on in their septic systems, because it's the
Yes.
bacteria that breaks down the stuff in the septic system.
Exactly.
So too many RVers flushing their tanks with these chemicals and the antibacterial products in it will work to actually destroy or harm their septic systems. Is there some campgrounds even prohibit people from using certain things?
So they ask people to do certain things. There's a limit to what people are going to dump their stuff dump out their tanks into the system. But many parks will ask them to limit certain things. Most don't. Most don't have rules and regulations about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we head that direction, just because people don't realize that dumping the wrong thing into the septic system might mean thousands of dollars of repairs for the park to fix the problem, that even something as simple as dumping the wrong kind of toilet paper into the septic system at a park will mess up the park, and they'll have to call in an actual plumbing system to come and pump everything out. And it's just a huge mess and a huge expense. So either they're going to kill what's going on in the septic system of the park, or they can actually damage the pipes, the plumbing of what's going on as well. So there's a lot of damage that we can do. And I feel like being a good RVer also means don't mess up places where you're at. So there's a lot of simple things that people can do that can prevent that. And that's a big goal of mine. When I teach clients on how to take care of their tanks. Part of it is let's have your tanks working well, but let's also, like I said earlier, not damage any place where you're at as well, because to me, they go hand in hand.
That's right. So be a good guest and
Be a good guest.
help the campground owner save a couple $1,000s. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Are all
Exactly.
holding tank treatments created equal? Are some more safe than others or more effective than others?
Yes, there's a huge variety in tank treatments, and many tank treatments contain a lot of ingredients that they're not only not going to help the tank, but they're going to often make problems worse. For example, some tank treatments with harsh chemicals, they can even turn the toilet paper that people put into their tanks, turn it into a brick, really crystallize and solidify it, as well as all the other damage that we've just been talking about. There's a huge difference in different kind of tank treatments. And I can tell you that there are more and more different kinds of tank treatments on the market all the time. And so what I look for in tank treatment is something that I'm actually very specific in what I look for. And there aren't that many that are going to fit this bill. So there are tank treatments that do a very good job of basically breaking down the waste that is in the tank. So it'll break it down really well. But it might have things like fragrance or color added to it. And not all of that is necessarily super damaging. I actually prefer to have it with neither of those things. So I like a tank treatment that does not have a fragrance, that does not have a color added to it, that is just going to do the job of adding either enzymes, bacteria, probiotic. My favorite tank treatment actually has a probiotic. That's basically what the tank treatment is. It's a probiotic and does a really good job of neutralizing the odor as well without all the added other stuff. So there's a big continuum of different products that people use. There are also a lot of home recipes that they've been online for years. I know when I first started RVing, I used a lot of the home recipes because before I knew better, I was trying all different kinds of things. And that's the thing. I know that RVers have very good intentions of using products that will work. So they all come with good intentions. And I certainly did when I started RVing. I didn't know anything about RVing. And I did a lot of research online to find out what kind of tank treatments worked. And so I tried some that I bought, and then I tried some that I found recipes for online. And I tried the geo method and the ice in the tank when you drive it around. And there's a lot of different recipes that people have online. And if the recipes really worked, I would recommend them. I don't personally sell any kind of tank treatment, so I don't have skin in the game about what people choose. I just want people to choose something. I can say, I want them to choose something that will help them go do what we've already said, take good care of their tanks. But I also look at it that they're not going to need me as often. So because of where I'm at, I'm in an area where I've got a lot of new people coming in, and my goal is to teach them how to take care of their tanks in between bringing in somebody like me who cleans out the tanks, and then be able to use their tanks as long as possible in between needing somebody like me. Because there's no benefit to me to having somebody need me more often because I have plenty of people that I could work with. So my goal is to help them keep their tanks in great shape and then not need somebody like me until they do. And when they do, great. Then there's people like me or other people that I've trained that can help them. But in between, they have tanks that work. They have sensors that work. They are not getting odor in the tanks. It's just working for them. So that's my goal for everybody.
You teased us by saying that you have a specific product that you like to use. Would you like to recommend that?
I would. I actually really like this product. It's a company out in Arizona, and the company is called Just Science. And their tank treatment product is called TankTex RX. So it's TankTechs RX. And the reason that I like it, I had followed them for quite a while when I first got into tank cleaning and did a ton of research on their product. And I like it because it's a probiotic. All it's got in the product is a probiotic and a food for the probiotic. And they use molasses typically. And it's brown. So it's not a pretty color. It's just brown. And it doesn't smell good in the bottle. It's not meant to. It's not fragranced. But once you put it in the tank, it does a very good job of neutralizing the odor. And the owner of the company, he's been really gracious and talked to me quite a bit about the product. They originally developed it They worked with a company that was creating a product that would neutralize odor at pig slaughterhouses. So they really were working on something that would neutralize the odor. And so they reached out to them and said, could you help us create a product that would work well for RV tanks? Because the odor is a big deal. And so I've been very happy with the product. I think it does a great job. And they have a product line, and it's the same product that they use in RVs, marine boats, and septic systems. So everything that if you're using it in your RV and it goes down into the septic system at the park, it is helping the septic system at the park. And that's the other thing that I really like. So it's going to continue to work in the septic system after you've dumped it. And I think that's just another nice thing in addition to it working really well in RV tanks.
Is it adding bacteria to the tank?
It's adding probiotics to the tank.
Okay.
And they continue to grow. And that's the goal of it. I tell people it's like a sourdough starter, which sounds so terrible in a black or a gray tank. But it's like a sourdough starter. And so when you use it, you're actually meant to use it, put some in the tank, and then not completely dump the tank. Leave a little bit left in there when you dump, and then put a little bit more in because it will continue to grow. As weird as that sounds, that's what they recommend and how they recommend doing it. And it works really well to do it that way.
That was the other question I was going to ask is how often do you need to add a holding tank treatment? Is it after every flush or?
Yeah, ideally every time you dump your tanks, you're going to add a little bit more because that's what it's actually there for. It's there to continue to do its work, do its probiotic work in the tank. It's meant to be that way. So yeah, every time you dump, that's when I would recommend putting it in.
For people who might not use this product, would they still need to be doing the same thing? Adding a little bit every time?
Yes, that's actually the purpose of a tank treatment. The only time I would recommend something different. So if you've got a family that's RVing and everybody's showering every day and you are dumping that gray tank every day or every other day, I don't know that I would do it that often because it's just going to be wasting a lot of product. So I might instead, for somebody like that, I might say, all right, use your gray tank. Like you could do it on your black tank every time. In your gray tank, the next time you dump where you're going to have it, it's going to be in the tank for a little while, like maybe overnight, over a weekend or something, or during the week if you're not in it, leave it sit overnight. So let the tank have the tank product be in there, leave it overnight. But I wouldn't add it every single time because you're just going to be wasting a ton of product.
Okay.
The black tank, you're going to leave. The black tanks usually take a little bit longer to be ready to be dumped. So you can certainly do that.
Are these treatments safe for kids and dogs or kids and pets?
It depends. So if you're getting a lot of products are absolutely not safe. There's a lot of chemicals in them. And so you'd need to be super careful about that. Again, that's why I like the one that I have because it's actually, like I said, there's not much in it. So I'm not worried about it being safe or unsafe because the things that are in it are not toxic. Some of the other tank products definitely toxic. Lots of toxic ingredients, to be honest. And I look at from a bigger picture when you're in a small space like an RV, any toxins at all, it's just going to be concentrating in your space, in the air you're breathing, in all the different products you use. And I include tank treatment products in that whole, what kind of products are you using in your RV? Because it is a small space and you're breathing in all of the things that you're using for cleaning and taking care of things.
Okay. When I was a new RVer, I did a stupid thing, because my tanks really stank. So I thought being a guy, you just deal with that by throwing bleach down it. Not just some, but a gallon. And it smoked. Actually, that did some kind of interaction in there that really created the smoking and caused all kinds of problems. I'm surprised I have any seals left. Is there anything that you have to worry about when doing those kind of things?
You're right. I would never recommend that anybody do that. You're not the first person who's told me that. And part of it's because it's reacting to whatever else was already in there. And that's the danger of bleach. Plus, it's going now down into the septic system and killing everything in the septic system. So I don't recommend bleach in the gray or the black tank. The only place we recommend bleach in a tank is in the freshwater holding tank. And it's a very diluted bleach water solution that you basically use to sanitize. So I wouldn't put it down the black or the gray, and partly because it'll just react to whatever else has been used, but it'll also kill what's going on in the septic system.
I realized later that bleach can interact with ammonia that might be in the tank, and ammonium bleach create mustard gas, which was used in World War I to kill hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, it can be pretty dangerous. Yeah.
A lot of people also keep their tanks open because you had mentioned a family of RVers who take showers every day. Is it okay if you're
Yes.
using a lot of stuff to keep it flowing right out of the white or the gray water tank?
Yeah. So it's a really common question. And honestly, a lot of RV dealers will even tell people, oh, you can leave those open. It's fine. It's not fine, actually. So the tanks really should be closed until it's time to dump.
Mhm.
There's two reasons. One is that you do actually develop more buildup in the tank when you leave them open like that. The second reason is people don't realize there are things living in the septic system and they will come up and they'll move into your tank. So everything from bugs, pods. I've never seen a snake or anything like that when I've cleaned it out, but I know other tank cleaners who have. So there would be things that will move into your tank. So from both sides of it, it's not a good idea to leave your tanks open. Unless, so I do tell people this, there's two reasons why you might where it'd be a good idea to leave them open. If you have a dishwasher or a washing machine, the manufacturers recommend, they actually tell you, you need to keep your tanks open while you are running this appliance. Because some of the tank sizes are small enough that one round of using one of those appliances will overflow the tank itself. And the second reason is the water pressure can actually change how the plumbing is shaped. So it'll actually affect the plumbing itself. While you're running the appliance, I would leave them open. I would open it up. The second reason that I tell people this is just going to be easier. So if you do have, say, a big family get together and everybody's taking showers, you could just go open up that gray tank, let everybody take their showers, and then close it after you're done. Because otherwise, you are going to start filling up that tank pretty quickly. If you have a big family that are all taking showers. But otherwise, I would leave them shut, leave them closed, leave those valves closed until it's time to dump, and then actually dump them. I've had people that have hired me to come clean out tanks when they had the gray tanks left open. I've also had people that have reached out to me when they've left their black tanks open and the black tanks had filled up and they were still dry. And so they had basically kept draining, but they were now full of human waste and toilet paper.
The poop
And at
pyramid.
that point,
Yes.
exactly, it's like an endless poop pyramid. And that honestly is when it's that to that point, I'm not the best person to do that because you're actually going to probably be cheaper to have somebody come in and remove the tank and put a new tank in, which is not going to be cheap, but it is not fast for me to come in and do something like that. So it's a big deal. And most people, they're not doing it because they didn't know. They're doing it because they just didn't know.
Right.
And somebody told them typically that it's fine that you leave those open. And it's actually not fine.
And don't you use the water in the gray tank to flush out the hose and
Yes.
et cetera when
Yep.
you dump the black tank?
Yeah. So the way to really flush out the tanks is to dump first and let that completely dump and then shut the black and then open up the gray and let that gray water just clear out any of the black tank water and debris that's left in the hose. And that will just clean out the hose and as well as emptying out the gray tank at the same time. But yes, that's the typical way to dump your tanks.
I also noticed when dumping my black tank that sometimes it would get stuck. There would be a lot of stuff and it'd create a little blockage. But opening the gray tank and letting that water flow through actually created a system that actually worked to suck the black tank information or garbage out of the tank. Have you ever noticed that?
I have not noticed. That's
Okay.
so interesting. I have not noticed that, but
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's, and just knowing the way that they plumb the lines that I need to go through to get to the tanks, it would not surprise me that there's things going on like that.
Some people bypass the holding tank treatments altogether and they put on products like a 360 siphon, etc., which actually pulled the odors out of the tanks by having the wind blow across it. Is that an acceptable alternative?
I don't think I've ever seen one of those on one of the RVs that I've worked on. So
Okay.
people may be doing it, but I have not seen it. So, and I've worked on, like I said, thousands of tanks at this point. I've not seen it. So I don't know if it's a good thing if it's actually effective or not.
Okay.
To me, the bigger thing, what I really want is to have a really simple solution. And the simple solution to me is occasionally get your tanks professionally cleaned if they need it. Because most tanks do over time, they're going to need it. And then in between, take good care of it yourself. And take good care of it just means do a few simple things. Take a good tank treatment, be aware of, like, limit what's going down your gray tank, few simple things. And then that's it. And just enjoy enjoy your RVing, because that's why we have holding tanks, so that we can just enjoy RVing. And I don't want to add a complicated, unnecessary routine for people to have to do, because if you do a few things, your RV tanks can just be great. They can just be basically out of sight, out of mind, because you're doing a few things and then you can just enjoy your RV.
Since you brought it up, how often should people get their tanks professionally cleaned? Is it every year or a little
It
longer than
really
that?
depends on the situation, because the reason I say that is, so some tank cleaners will tell you you need to clean them every year. I've heard people say you have to clean them every 6 months. I would never tell somebody that, and here's why. I've cleaned all different kinds of tanks, all different age RVs. So this one's 10 years old, this one's 5 years old, this one's 1 year old. And I can tell you, I cannot predict when I come up on an RV how much is going to come out, what's going to come out, because I've learned that I cleaned one RV that was 6 months old, and it was the original owner, and he was meticulous. He told me everything he did, and he was meticulous. These were some of the dirtiest tanks I have ever seen. And then I had another Class A, 5 years old. They were, again, the original owners. It was almost pristine. And so I told that couple, I said, you know what? I wouldn't, unless you have an issue with this, I wouldn't get these cleaned for another 5 years. They look amazing. There's almost nothing in here. You're doing a great job. The tanks are, the way that they're plumbed is they're dumping really easily. So with them, I told them 5 years. With this other gentleman, I said what I would do, because we're at 6 months and these are very dirty. I would go another maybe 6 months to a year, clean them again. Now that, because I taught him all the things that I would teach somebody about how to take care of their tanks. I said, do it in another maybe 6 months to a year. If it's cleaner this time, then go a little longer. If it's just as dirty, you're probably going to be going every 6 months. So most people, I tell them, yeah, maybe a year and a half, have me come in, we'll clean them, especially if they're pre-owned. We'll clear out whatever those former owners might have done or not done. We'll clean them all out. We'll give you a baseline, and then maybe a year and a half down the road, do it again. And if they're pretty clean, go longer. If they're dirty, then go a little bit shorter. So based it on individual usage, because there's so many things that actually affect, truthfully, that affect how clean a tank's going to be. It's everything from the product they're using, the plumbing in their RV, what they're eating, how their personal health is. There's so many things that affect it. So I'm going to teach people how to do the easiest things possible that are going to make the biggest amount of difference, and then go from there. And then we'll just see what they need.
When you're cleaning a tank professionally, are you snaking a camera down there to see exactly what's going on in the tanks?
I typically don't. I do have a camera, and I only use it if I've got a clog from the toilet going down to the tank, because I need to see it, especially if I can't see the end of the plumbing. I need to see if that's cleared out. But typically I only clean from the outside on the sewer exit on the outside of the RV. I clean from that side, and then I go up. And I don't use a camera for that. I found it's
Okay.
not actually my clients are usually standing right with me, so they're watching what's coming out. We can see when the tank's clean.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all standing there watching. We're
Yeah.
all excited. Woohoo, look at this, it's getting clean. So
Earlier, you had talked about toilet paper and how the impact that it can have on a holding tank. You said some are better than others. What are the best kinds of toilet paper to use in an RV?
So the main thing with the toilet paper is that you should use something that says septic safe on it. So there's a lot of, the most common brand is probably Scott brand toilet paper. So it has to say septic safe on it. So any septic safe toilet paper is fine. You do not need to get RV rated toilet paper. So just septic safe is fine. I have plenty of clients too that they like to use 3-ply toilet paper. They just don't put it down into the tank. You have options. Some people get a little special little trash can that they have that's got a little lid on it, and they just use it for their toilet paper. And it sounds weird, but when people decide they're going to do it that way, they're like, it's actually not a big deal at all. It doesn't smell. There's nothing bad about it at all. That way they can use whatever toilet paper they want. If you're going to put it in the tank, go ahead and do that, but just use septic safe. And if you really like your fluffy toilet paper, then go ahead and use it, but just don't put it in the tank, because toilet paper, inappropriate toilet paper and not properly using the right amount of water is the thing that's going to cause a clog or a pyramid, plus the addition of the wrong kind of a chemically based tank treatment. That's the worst combination that you could have. But otherwise, the toilet paper will be fine in there. If you use septic safe toilet paper, it's going to be fine.
You're a full-time RVer, right?
Yes.
Yes. So you travel frequently. So if when you're traveling, you can clean septic tanks. So if people wanted to hook up with you and find out if you were going to be in their neck of the woods sometime soon, how could they get in touch with you?
So the best way to reach me is through my website, royalflushrv.com. And I'm not traveling around much right now. So I am at the NRVTA, the National RV Training Academy in Athens, Texas. But I've got other tank cleaners that have taken my training program across the country. So if I'm not able to help you, I can typically help you find somebody in your area that can help you.
That raises a whole new question then. If people see this as an opportunity to make some money when they're traveling by flushing out people's tanks, because everybody needs it at some point, do you offer that kind of training? It sounds like you do.
I do. I actually have an online training program.
Okay.
So people don't even have to come to me to learn the training. And it teaches people everything from what kind of equipment you need, basically start to finish, what you need to do to be a tank cleaner. And I've had quite a number of people that have gone through the training. So like I said, I've got a network now of tank cleaners across the country that are able to be in more areas where I can't be.
Okay.
So it's really helpful for my clients. If they can't get to me, then there's other people out there that can help them.
Is there a way to find those folks?
There's two ways. They can reach out directly to me and ask. The other way is I'm just trying to remember the website, the locator website. They can go to the rvtaa.org website, and there's a locator on the website, and it will let you search by tank cleaners. And those are that's the folks that I've trained.
Very good. Thank you so much for your time today, Sue. I really appreciate it. This is great information and stuff that every RVer needs to know if they're going to have a successful and enjoyable, hassle-free lifestyle.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been my pleasure.
I enjoyed speaking with Sue Rassmussen, the owner of Royal Flush RV. She offered a wealth of information on what RVers need to do to control odors and maintain their holding tanks. Simply scraping off plates into a garbage can and wiping them with a paper towel before washing works to greatly reduce the odor-causing particles from getting into the tank in the first place. One of the more important things Workampers can do is to put bacteria to work for them. There are several products on the market that break down waste of all types. Other products work to kill bacteria, which is counterproductive not only for the holding tank, but for the campground septic system as well. That's why many campgrounds prohibit the use of antibacterial cleaners and holding tank treatments, because they kill the bacteria necessary for breaking down solids. Some holding tank treatments actually contain harsh chemicals that crystallize toilet paper into brick-like objects, which can cause serious damage to the campground septic systems as well. Sue recommended a product called Tank Tex RX, which is a probiotic that releases microorganisms to liquefy solid waste and sludge. It doesn't use chemicals, colored dyes, or fragrances to control odors. It does so naturally. Then, when the tanks are flushed, the probiotics are transferred to the campground septic system, where they continue to break down the waste. Every RVer also needs to flush out their holding tanks once every 12 to 18 months to clean off sensors and remove accumulated solids and grime. RVers can buy the cleaning equipment themselves or hire professional technicians to do it for them. Professional tank cleaning is a business Workampers can do wherever they travel. Sue shows them what equipment to use and how to clean the tanks. She'll even show business owners how to market their services wherever they are. That makes professional tank cleaning an excellent mobile business to own. For more information about getting tanks cleaned or starting your own professional tank cleaning business, visit www.royalflushrv.com. People can also connect with Sue on Facebook. To get the Tank Tex RX probiotic treatment Sue recommended, visit www.justscience.com. Today's episode was sponsored by Workamper News. Wouldn't it be nice if work camping job listings for your ideal location just appeared in your email inbox? They can when you're a Workamper News member. Join Workamper News today to start using the best toolkit for finding your next work camping gig. When they turn on Job Alert emails, members can select to receive Help Wanted ads for just one state or for all the states they want to work in. Each email contains the full ad text, so there's no need to have to click on a link, go to a website, and then hunt around for the ad just to see if the job even interests you. The job finding process is easier with Workamper News, so join today at www.workamper.com. That's all for this week's show. Next week, I'll be speaking with an employer looking for help on a hunting ranch in Texas. I'll have that interview on the next episode of The Workamper Show. Thanks for listening.